Well, hello guys. Today we are going to talk about a specific kind of block regarding creativity. I'm going to talk here today about the flow. And for that, I'd like to use this book as a reference. It's called Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience. As a matter of fact, I have a hard copy of this book, but as we have to stay at home because of the coronavirus issue, I couldn't go to my office and get it to show you guys, okay? But no worries about that. I have everything I need for this class right here. Well, that book summarizes for a general audience decades of research on the positive aspects of human experience: joy, creativity, the process of total involvement with life that the author calls flow. The author says that a joyful life is an individual creation that cannot be copied from a recipe. In the introduction of his book, he says that 2300 years ago, Aristotle concluded that more than anything else, men and women seek happiness. The gods of the Greeks were like helpless children compared to humankind today and the powers we have now. But we do not understand what happiness is any better than Aristotle did. And as for learning how to attain that blessed condition, one could argue that we have made no progress at all in all this time. So, people often end up feeling that their lives have been wasted, that instead of being filled with happiness, their years were spent in anxiety and boredom. What the author discovered is that happiness is not something that happens. It's not the result of good fortune or random chance. It's not something that money can buy or power command. It does not depend on outside events, but rather on how we interpret them. Happiness is, in fact, a condition that must be prepared for, cultivated, and defended privately by each person. Yet, we have experienced times when, instead of being buffeted by anonymous forces, we do feel in control of our actions, masters of our own fate. On the rare occasions that it happens, we feel a sense of exhilaration, a deep sense of enjoyment that is long cherished and that becomes a landmark in memory for what life should be like. This is what we mean by optimal experience. Contrary to what people usually believe, moments like these, the best moments in our lives, are not the passive, receptive, relaxing times. Although such experiences can also be enjoyable, mainly if we have worked really hard to attain them. The best moments usually happen when a person's body or mind is stretched to its limits in a voluntary effort to accomplish something difficult and worthwhile. Optimal experience is thus something that we make happen. Such experiences are not necessarily pleasant at the time they occur. In the long run, optimal experiences add up to a sense of mastery. The author developed a theory of optimal experience based on the concept of flow, the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it even at great cost, just for the sake of doing it. Flow is being used to generate ideas and practices in clinical psychotherapy, the rehabilitation of juvenile delinquents, the organization of activities in old people's homes, the design of museum exhibits, and occupational therapy with the handicapped. Well, in his book, the author Mihaly, he talks about the shields of culture. He says that when people start believing the process is inevitable and life is easy, they may quickly lose courage and determination in the face of the first signs of adversity. The roots of discontent are internal, and each person must untangle them personally, with his or her own power. After its success, it becomes more unmistakable that money, power, status, and possessions do not by themselves necessarily add anything to the quality of life. While the humankind collectively has increased its material powers a thousandfold, it has not advanced very far in terms of improving the content of experience. That's when the author talks about reclaiming the experience. He says that power returns to the person when the rewards are no longer relegated to outside forces. The great emperor Marcus Aurelius, for example, he wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it's not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now." Yes, that's deep. So, in another chapter of the book, he talks about uh, using your attention as a kind of psychic energy. You know, he says that because attention determines what will or will not appear in our consciousness, and because it is also required to make any other mental events such as remembering, thinking, feeling, and making decisions happen there. It is useful to think of it as psychic energy. Attention is like energy, and without it, no work can be done. And in doing work, it is dissipated. We create ourselves by how we invest this energy. Memories, thoughts, and feelings are all shaped by how we use it. And it is an energy under our control to do with as we please. Hence, attention is our most important tool in the task of improving the quality of experience. Um, After that, the author draws our attention to something that he calls the enjoyment and the quality of life. According to the author, the waiting rooms of psychiatrists are filled with rich and successful patients who, in their 40s or 50s or even 30s sometimes, suddenly wake up to the fact that a plush suburban home, expensive cars, and even an Ivy League education are not enough to bring peace of mind. To improve life, one must improve the quality of experience. We can experience pleasure without an investment of psychic energy, whereas enjoyment happens only as a result of unusual investments of attention. It is for this reason that pleasure is so evanescent and evanescent, right? And that the self does not grow as a consequence of pleasurable experiences. Complexity requires investing psychic energy in goals that are new, that are relatively challenging. Okay. Well, after that, the author talks about the elements of enjoyment that I think is the most important for this class right now. Okay, so pay attention to this part. First, the experience usually occurs when we confront tasks we have a chance of completing. Second, we must be able to concentrate on what we are doing. Third and fourth, the concentration is usually possible because the task undertaken has clear goals and provides immediate feedback. Fifth, one acts with a deep but effortlessly involvement that removes from awareness the worries and frustrations of everyday life. Sixth, enjoyable experiences allow people to exercise a sense of control over their actions. Seventh, concern for the self disappears. Yet paradoxically, the sense of self emerges stronger after the flow experience is over. And finally, the sense of the duration of time is altered. Hours pass by in minutes, and minutes can stretch out to seem like hours. The combination of all these elements causes a sense of deep enjoyment that is so rewarding, people feel that expending a great deal of energy is worthwhile simply to be able to feel it. Tell me, who has never felt like an hour passed by like a minute? So, I want you to tell me now, when was the last time it happened? What were you doing then? Maybe you should be doing a lot more of that. At the end of the book, there's a quote, a dictum from Jefferson, and the author leaves it for us like that. Jefferson's uncomfortable dictum. eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We must constantly reevaluate what we do, lest habits and past wisdom blind us to new possibilities. That's the message for today's class. Okay, guys. So, I think uh, I have a PDF file that I'm going to upload on your Google Classroom for you so that you can read a little bit more about this whole flow issue, okay? This flow block. And if you have any questions, you can contact me on email, on Google Classroom, or any kind of social media. You find me, okay? And last thing I would like to say is that today I put in the virtual environment the first activity that you have to do for me. Okay, so go there, check it. I don't know if you have to go to work or if you have to stay at home as a home office like me, but if you stay at home, it's going to be easier for you to check those things up. Okay, and catch up with everything that I posted on the virtual environment. So that's all for today's class. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next class. Bye bye.